Most people are pretty familiar with the President Joe Biden, given that he used to be Vice President of the United States and all, but you might not know much about his family, including Joe's wife, Jill Biden. Their partnership has stood the test of time over 40 years and counting, and while Jill isn't in the limelight as much as her husband, she has shared more about her life, her career, her relationship with Biden, their family, and more while helping to campaign for her husband and now as First Lady. So who is Jill? Other than the current First Lady and former Second Lady of the United States, here is everything you need to know. She is a doctor, 2 IVM. Jill is not a medical doctor, but she has a doctorate in education from the University of Delaware, a title she earned in 2007. According to her official White House biography, she did her dissertation on maximizing student retention in community colleges. Jill also has a master's degree in English from Villanova University and a master's degree in reading from West Chester University. She has it from Philadelphia originally. She was married before. Jill was previously married to a man named Bill Stevenson, who she wed when she was 18 years old. Just 6 months after they met their son, they divorced in 1975. Jill is Joe's second wife too. Joe's first wife was his college sweetheart Nelia Biden. Nelia and the couple's 1-year-old daughter Naomi were killed just before Christmas in 1972 when a tractor-trailer slammed into their station wagon. Their biography. Biden's sons Beau and Hunter were severely injured in the crash as well, but ended up recovering. Jill and Joe met on a blind date. 3 years after the death of Joe's wife and daughter, his brother introduced the couple. Jill was still in college and had a very good first impression of Joe. I was a senior and I had been dating guys in jeans and clothes and t-shirts. He came to the door and he had a sport coat and loafers, she told Vogue. When we came home, he shook my hand. Good night. I went upstairs and called my mother at 1 a.m. and said, Mom, I finally met a gentleman. Joe was a single dad raising his 2 sons when they met. Jill also helped him move on after the tragedy. She gave me back my life, Joe wrote in his 2007 memoir, Promises to Keep, Piro the Oprah magazine. She made me start to think my family might be whole again. She gives great advice. Jill did her first interview as First Lady in Kelly Clarkson's talk show and offered up some really great advice on navigating divorce. I want to tell you, Kelly, I mean, this is what I would say to you if you were your mother. She said, You know, my mother always said to me, things are going to look better to tomorrow, and if you can take one day at a time, and things will get better. She continued, I look back on it now, and I think, you know, if I hadn't gotten divorced, I never would have met Joe. I wouldn't have the beautiful family I have now. So I really think things happen for the best, and I think, Kelly, over time, I do not know how long it has been for you, but I think over time you heal and you are going to be surprised. I cannot wait until that day comes for you and you are going to call me up and you are going to say, Hey Jill, you were right. She has 5 grandchildren. Jill is mom to Ashley, a social worker, Hunter, a lawyer, and Beau, who was Delaware's Attorney General. Beau died of brain cancer in 2015, sparking the Biden Cancer Initiative, which Jill and Joe co-founded. Now Joe and Jill are grandparents to 5 grandchildren, Naomi, Finnegan, Macy, Natalie, and Hunter. Jill shut down Joe's marriage proposal more than once. Joe proposed to Jill 5 different times before she agreed to marry him, according to Vogue. I said, not yet, not yet, not yet. Because by that time, of course, I had fallen in love with the boys, and I really felt that this marriage had to work, Jill said, because they had lost their mom, and I couldn't have them lose another mom, so I had to be 100% sure. Joe chimed in and said that he actually gave Jill this ultimatum. Look, this is the last time I'm asking you. I do not care when we get married, but I want a commitment. And she said, okay, but it took that. She married him in 1977 in New York City. The couple had a small ceremony with 40 family and friends at the United Nations Chapel, followed by a lunch reception. After their wedding, Joe and Jill honeymooned as a family with his two sons, Vogue reported. Joe is still crazy in love with her. In the same profile for CBS Sunday Morning, Joe said that he was still madly in love with his wife. I adore her. I'm gonna sound so stupid. I was saying the other day, when she comes down the steps and I look at her, my heart still skips a beat. He also shared a sweet message to Julie and a photo on Instagram. He wrote, Happy Valentine's Day, Julie. You are the love of my life and the life of my love. Joe turns to Jill for advice, and she supports him on the campaign trail. What Jill is best at helping me do is figure out who the people around me would be most compatible with me. He said in the CBS profile, she knows me better than I know me. And Jill said that they also discussed his vice presidential candidate together. We have talked about the different women candidates, but it is gonna be Joe's decision, she said. Who he feels most comfortable with, who shares his values. And that's what he has always said. That's what he and Barack had. Of course, ultimately Joe chose Kamala Harris as his run-in mate. She has been teaching for a long time. Jill taught English full-time at the Delaware Technical and Community College. Her White House biography says, before that she was a reading specialist and English teacher for 13 years in public schools. She also worked part-time with the Rockford Psychiatric Hospital Adult Center program. She also vowed to continue to teach as First Lady in an interview with CBS Sunday Morning before the election. If we get to the White House, I'm going to continue to teach. It is important, and I want people to value teachers and know their contributions and lift up their profession, she said. Jill chose her former classroom as her Democratic National Convention speech location. She shared the update on Twitter. Teaching is not what I do. It is who I am. I will be giving my convention speech tonight from my former classroom, Brandywine High School, room 232.